What's up, guys? It's a Friday night. We out here. We're gonna read Apple Media Services Terms and Conditions. That's right. We got a lit Friday night, baby. I'm doing this because it seems to me that people aren't reading this. They're just hitting accept without knowing what they're doing. They're putting their name on something that they didn't read. So being the good person that I am, I decided, you know what, Michael? Why don't you read it for them? Genius idea. That's exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm going to read that for you right now. Kick feet up, relax. I got this. I'm in charge now, okay? So prepare to be amazed. Here we go. Apple Media Services Terms and Conditions. These terms and conditions create a contract between you and Apple. The agreements, please read the agreement carefully. To confirm your understanding and acceptance of the agreement, click agree. That's generally when people click off. But we're going to go the whole way, baby. A. Introduction to our services. This agreement governs your use of Apple services. Services, example, where available: App Store, Apple Arcade, Apple Books, Apple Fitness, Apple Music, Apple News Plus, Apple One, Apple Podcasts, Apple Podcast subscriptions, Apple TV Plus, Apple TV channels, Game Center, iTunes, through which you can buy, get licensed, rent, or subscribe to content, apps, as defined below, and other party. Our services are available for your use in your country or territory or residence, home country. By creating an account for use of services in a particular country or territory, you are specifying it as your home country. To use our services, you need the compatible hardware, software, latest version recommended and sometimes required, and internet access. Fees may apply. Our services performance may be affected by these factors. B. Using our services. Payment, taxes, and refunds. You can acquire content on our services for free or for a charge, either of which is referred to as a transaction. Each transaction is an electronic contract between you and Apple and or the entity providing the content of our services. However, if you are a customer of Apple Distribution Entity International Limited, Apple Distribution International Limited is the merchant of record for some content you acquire from Apple Books, Apple Podcasts, or the App Store, as displayed on the product page and or during the acquisition process for the relevant service. In such case, you acquire the content from Apple Distribution International Limited, which is licensed by the contract provider, example, app provider as defined below, book publisher, etc. When you make your first transaction, we will ask you to choose how frequently we should ask for your password for future transactions. If you enable Touch ID for transactions, we will ask you to authenticate all transactions with your fingerprint. And if you enable Face ID for transactions, we will ask that you authenticate all transactions using facial recognition. Manage your password settings at any time by following these instructions. http:/support.apple.com/ht/204030. Apple will charge your selected payment method, such as your credit card, debit card, gift card code, or other method available in your home country, for any paid transactions, including any applicable taxes, if you've also added it to your Apple Wallet. Apple may charge your selected payment method in Apple Wallet using Apple Pay. You can also associate multiple payment methods with your Apple ID, and you agree that Apple may store and charge those payment methods for transactions. Your primary payment method appears at the top of your account settings payment page. If your primary payment method cannot be charged for any reason, such as an expiration, insufficient funds, you authorize Apple to attempt to charge your other eligible payment methods in order from top to bottom as they appear on your account settings payment page. If we cannot charge you, you remain responsible for any uncollected amounts, and we may attempt to charge you again or request that you provide another payment method. If you pre-order content, you will be charged when the content is delivered to you, unless you cancel prior to the content's availability. In accordance with local law, Apple may automatically update your payment information regarding your payment methods and provided such information by the payment networks or your financial institutions. For more details about how transactions are billed, please visit http:/support.apple.com/ht201359. All transactions are final. Content prices may change anytime if technical problems prevent or unreasonably delay delivery of content, your exclusive and sole remedy is either replacement of the content, refund of the price paid as determined by Apple. From time to time, Apple may suspend or cancel payment or refuse a refund request. If we find evidence of fraud, abuse, unlawful, or other manipulative behavior that entitles Apple to a corresponding counterclaim, terms related to store credit and gift cards/codes are available here. http://apple.com/legal/internet-services/iTunes/gift cards. Accounts. Using our services and accessing your content may require an Apple ID. An Apple ID is an account you use across Apple's ecosystem. Use of Game Center is subject to this agreement and also requires a Game Center account. Your account is valuable, and you are responsible for maintaining its confidentiality and security. Apple is not responsible for any losses arising from the unauthorized use of your account. Please contact Apple if you suspect that your account has been compromised. You must be age 13 or equivalent minimum age in your home country, as set forth in the registration process. To create an account and use our services, Apple ID for persons under this age can be created by a parent or legal guardian using family sharing or by an approved educational institution. A parent or legal guardian who is creating an account for a child under the age of majority should review this agreement with the child to ensure that they both understand it. You may add, notify, or remove a legacy contract for your Apple ID as described in http://support.apple.com/HT212360. A legacy contact's access to your Apple ID is limited as described in http://support.apple.com/HT212361. Privacy. Your use of services is subject to Apple's privacy policy, which is available at http://www.apple.com/legal/privacy/. Services and content usage rules. Your use of the services and content must follow the rules set forth in this section. Usage rules. Any other use of the service and content is a material breach of the agreement. Apple may monitor your use of the services and content to ensure that you are following this usage rules. All services. You may use the services and content only for personal, non-commercial purposes, except as set forth in the App Store content section below. Apple's delivery of services or content does not transfer any commercial or promotional use to you and does not constitute a grant or waiver of any rights of the copyright owners. You can use content from up to 5 different Apple IDs on each device. For any service, you can have up to 10 devices, but only a maximum of 5 computers signed in with your Apple ID at one time. Through simultaneous streams or downloads of content may be limited to a lower number of devices set out below Apple Music and Apple TV content. Each computer must also be authorized using the same Apple ID. To learn more about authorization of computers, visit http://support.apple.com/HT201251. Devices can be associated with a different Apple ID once every 90 days. Manipulating play counts, downloads, ratings, or reviews via any means, such as using a bot, script, or automated process, or providing or accepting any kind of compensation or incentive, is prohibited. It is your responsibility not to lose, destroy, or damage content once downloaded. We encourage you to back up your content regularly. You may not tamper with or circumvent any security technology included with the services. You may access our services only using Apple software and may not modify or use modified versions of such software. Video content requires an HDCP connection. Audio and visual content sales and rentals. You can use digital rights management, DRM, free content on a reasonable number of compatible devices that you own or control. DRM protected content can be used on up to 5 computers and any number of devices that you sync up to from these computers. Content rentals are viewable on a single device at a time and must be played within 30 days and completed within 40 hours of the start of the play. Stopping or pausing or restarting does not extend this period. You may burn an audio playlist to purchase music to disk for listening purpose up to 7 times. This limitation does not apply to DRM-free content. Other content may not be burned to disk. Purchased content will generally remain available for you to download, re-download, or otherwise access from Apple. Though it's unlikely, subsequent to your purchase, content may be removed from the services. For instance, because the provider removed it and become available for further download or access from Apple, to ensure your ability to continue enjoying content, we encourage you to download all purchased content to a device in your possession and back it up. App Store content. The term apps includes apps and app clips for any Apple platform and or operating system, including any in-app purchases, extensions, stickers, and subscriptions made available in such apps or clips. Individuals acting on behalf of a commercial enterprise, government, organization, or educational institution, an enterprise, may download and sync non-arcade apps for use of either a single individual on one or more devices owned by an enterprise, multiple individuals on a single shared device owned or controlled by an enterprise. For the sake of clarity, each device used serially or collectively by multiple users requires a separate license. Apple Music. An individual Apple Music membership allows you to stream on a single device at a time. A family membership allows you or your family members to stream on up to 6 devices at a time. Apple Arcade. Apple Arcade apps may only be downloaded or re-downloaded with a valid Apple Arcade trial or subscription. If your subscription ends, Apple downloaded via Apple Arcade will no longer be accessible to you. Apple TV content. For most channels, you can stream content on up to 3 devices simultaneously. Learn more about Apple TV content usage rules at http://support.apple.com/ht210074. Downloads. You may be limited in the amount of content you may download, and some downloaded content may expire after a given amount of time after downloaded or first played. Certain content may not be available for download at all. You may be able to re-download previously acquired content, re-download to your devices that are signed in with the same Apple ID. Associated devices. You can see content types available for re-download in your home country at http://support.apple.com/ht204632. Content may not be available for re-download if that content is no longer offered on our services. Content also may be removed from our services anytime, after which it cannot be downloaded, re-downloaded, or otherwise accessed from Apple. Subscriptions. The services and certain apps may allow you to purchase access to content or services on a subscription basis. Paid subscriptions automatically renew until canceled in the Manage Subscriptions section of your account settings. To learn more about canceling your subscriptions, visit http://support.apple.com/ht202039. We will notify you if the price of a paid subscription increases, and if required, seek your consent to continue. You will be charged no more than 24 hours prior to the start of the latest paid subscription period. If we cannot charge your payment method for any reason, such as expiration or insufficient funds, and you have not canceled the paid subscription, you remain responsible for any uncollected amounts, and we will attempt to charge a payment method as you may update your payment method information. This may result in a change to the start of your next paid subscription period, and may change the date of which you are billed for each period. We reserve the right to cancel your paid subscription if we are unable to successfully charge your payment method to renew your subscription. Certain paid subscriptions may offer a free trial prior to charging your payment method. If you decide to unsubscribe from a paid subscription before we start charging your payment method, cancel the subscription at least 24 hours before the trial ends. If you start a free trial to a paid subscription offered by Apple as a content provider subscription and cancel before it ends, you cannot reactivate that free trial. Free trials or free offers to Apple paid subscriptions, excluding Icloud, cannot be combined with any free trials or offers of Apple One. If you are in a free trial or free offer for any Apple paid subscriptions and you subscribe to Apple One, your free trial or offers will not be paused, even if you have access to such Apple paid subscriptions through your Apple One subscription. You acknowledge that your free trial or free offer may expire when you are a paid subscriber at Apple One, and the Apple shall have no obligation to reinstate, reimburse, or otherwise compensate you for any part of such expired free trial or free offer. When your free paid subscription to any service or content ends, you will lose access to any functionality or content of the services that requires a paid subscription. Content and service availability. Terms found in the agreement that relate to services, content types, features, or functionality not available in your home country are not applicable to you unless they become available to you. To see the content types available to you in your home country, go to services or visit http://support.apple.com/HT204411. Certain services and content available to you in your home country may not be available to you when traveling outside of your home country. Third-party devices and equipment. You may not be able to use all the features of the services when accessing them on a non-Apple branded device. Additionally, services may require direct or suggest you use third-party equipment in some circumstances and or for some certain activities. Such use is subject to the terms and conditions of such equipment and should be made in accordance with the applicable manufacturer's instructions. By using the services, you agree that Apple may automatically download and install minor updates to its software on third-party equipment from time to time. Your submission to your services. Our services may allow you to submit or post materials such as comments, ratings, reviews, pictures, videos, and podcasts, including associated metadata and artwork. Your use of such features must comply with the submissions guidelines below, which may be updated from time to time, and if we become aware of materials that violate our submission guidelines, we will remove them. If you see materials that do not comply with the submissions guideline, please use the Report a Concern feature. Except to the extent prohibited by law, you hereby grant Apple a worldwide royalty-free, perpetual, non-exclusive license to use the materials you submit within the services and related marketing and Apple internal processes. Apple may monitor and decide to remove or edit any submitted material. Submissions guidelines. You may not use the services to post any materials that you do not have permission, right, or license to use, or infringe on the rights of any third party. Post objectionable, offensive, unlawful, deceptive, inaccurate, or harmful content. Post personal, private, or confidential information belonging to others. Request personal information from a minor. Impersonate or misrepresent your affiliation with another person or entity. Post or transmit spam, included but not limited to unsolicited or unauthorized advertising, promotional materials, or informational announcements. Post, modify, or remove a rating or review in exchange for any kind of compensation or incentive. Post a dishonest, abusive, harmful, misleading, or bad faith rating or review, or a rating or review that is irrelevant to the content being reviewed. Plan or engage in any illegal, fraudulent, or manipulative activity. Now D, family sharing. The organizer of a family must be 18 years of age, the parent or legal guardian of any family member under the age of 13, or the equivalent minimum age in their home country as set forth in the registration process. Apple devices are required for access to all of the family sharing features. Purchase sharing. Family sharing's purchase sharing allows eligible content to be shared among up to 6 members of a family. The organizer invites other members to participate and agrees to pay for all transactions initiated by the family members. The organizer's eligible payment methods are used to pay for any transaction initiated by a family member, except when the family member's account has stored credit, for which is always used first. Family members are acting as agents for the organizer when the organizer's eligible payment methods are used. The organizer hereby agrees: 1. To pay for such transactions. 2. That transactions initiated by family members are authorized. And 3. Transactions will be charged to eligible payment methods in the manner indicated in Section B above. Organizers are responsible for complying with their payment method contracts and assume all risk related to sharing access to their eligible payment methods with family members. A receipt or invoice for any family member transaction is sent to the initiated family member and the organizer. Ask to buy. Ask to buy is a convenient feature that allows an organizer to approve transactions initiated by a family member under age 18 or the equivalent age of majority in your home country. The organizer must be the parent or legal guardian of any family member for whom Ask to Buy is activated. Content sharing must be family members or acquired via content codes may not be subject to Ask to Buy. Family member charges. When a family member leaves or is removed from the family, the remaining family members may no longer be able to access the former member's content. including content acquired with the organizer's payment method. Family sharing rules. You can only belong to one family at a time and may join any family no more than twice a year. You can change the Apple ID you associate with a family no more than once every 90 days. All family members must share the same home country. Not all content, including in-app purchases, subscriptions, and some previously acquired apps, are eligible for purchase sharing. Apple TV Plus, Apple TV channels, Apple One Family, Apple One Premiere, Apple Music Family, Apple Arcade, Apple News Plus, and Apple Fitness Plus subscriptions are automatically enabled for family sharing. Subscriptions shared by family may be subject to content usage limitations on a per-subscription basis. Personalized recommendation features. The services may recommend content to you based on your downloads, purchases, and other activities. You may opt out from receiving such personalized recommendations for some services in your account settings. F. Additional iTunes Store terms. Season Pass and Multipass. A pass allows you to purchase and receive television content as it becomes available. A season pass applies to the television content that has a limited number of episodes a season. A multipass applies to the television content that is available on an ongoing basis. The full prices of a season pass or multipass is charged at the time of transaction. Season pass or multipass content is available for download up to 90 days after the last episode becomes available. If automatic renewal is selected, when you obtain a multipass, you will be charged the full price of each subsequent multipass cycle. You can turn off automatic renewal at least 24 hours prior to the beginning of the next multipass cycle in your account settings. If a content provider delivers to Apple fewer TV episodes than planned when you purchase the season pass, we will credit to you, your Apple ID, the retail value of the corresponding number of episodes that were not provided to Apple. Additional App Store terms, excluding Apple Arcade apps. License of App Store content. App licenses are provided to you by Apple or a third-party developer. App provider, if you are a customer of Apple Distribution International Limited. The merchant of record is Apple Distribution International Limited, which means that you acquire the app license from the Apple Distribution International Limited, but the app is licensed by the app provider. An app licensed by Apple is an Apple app. An app licensed by an app provider is a third-party app. Apple acts as an agent for app providers in providing the App Store and is not party to the sales contract of you or user agreement between you and the app provider. Any app that you acquire is governed by the License Application End User License Agreement, standard EULA, set forth below, unless Apple or app provider provides an overriding custom license agreement, custom EULA. The app provider or any third-party app is solely responsible for its content, warranties, and claims that you may have related to the third-party app. You acknowledge and agree that Apple is a third-party beneficiary of the standard EULA or custom EULA applicable to each third-party app and may therefore enforce such agreement. Certain apps such as stickers and iMessage apps may not appear on the device springboard, but they can be accessed and used in the iMessages app drawer. In-app purchases. Apps may offer content, services, or functionality for use within such apps. In-app purchases that are consumed during the use of the app, for example, virtual gems, cannot be transferred among devices and can be downloaded only once. You must authenticate your account before making in-app purchases. Separate from any authentication to obtain other content. By entering your password or using Touch ID or Face ID, you will be able to make additional in-app purchases for 15 minutes without re-authenticating, unless you are asked to provide a password for every purchase or have enabled Touch ID or Face ID. You can turn off the ability to make in-app purchases by following these instructions. http://support.apple.com/HT201304. App maintenance and support. Apple is responsible for providing maintenance and support for Apple apps only, or as required under applicable law. App providers are responsible for providing maintenance and support for third-party apps. App bundles. Some apps may be sold together as a bundle. An app bundle. The price displayed with the app bundle is the price you will be charged upon purchasing that app bundle. The app bundle price may be reduced to account for the apps you have already purchased or acquired, but may include a minimum charge to complete the app bundle. Licensed application end user license agreement. Apps made available through the App Store are licensed, not sold to you. Your license to each app is subject to your prior acceptance of either this licensed application end user license agreement, the standard EULA, or a custom end user license agreement between you and the application provider. EULA is granted by Apple, and your license to any third-party app under this standard EULA or custom EULA is granted by the application provider of that third-party app. Any app that is subject to this standard EULA is referred to as herein as the license application. The application provider, or Apple as applicable licensor, reserves all right into the license application, not expressly granted to you under the standard EULA. Now A, the scope of license. Licensor grants to you a non-transferable license to use the license application on any Apple-branded product that you own or control, and as permitted by the usage rules. The terms of the standard EULA will govern any content, materials, or services applicable from or purchased within the license application, as well as upgrades provided by the licensor that replace or supplement the original license application, unless such upgrade is accompanied by a custom EULA. Except as provided in the usage rules, you may not distribute or make the license application available over a network where it could be used by multiple devices at the same time. You may not transfer, redistribute, or sublicense the license application except as expressly permitted in the agreement, and if you sell your Apple device to a third party, you must remove the license application from the Apple device before doing so. You may not copy, except as permitted by the license and the usage rules. Reverse engineer, disassemble, attempt to derive to the source code of, modify, or create derivative works of the license application, any updates or any part thereof, except as and only to the extent that any foregoing restriction is prohibited by applicable law, and to the extent as may be permitted by the licensing terms governing use of any open source components included with the license application. B. Consent to use of data. You may agree that licensor may collect and use technical data and related information, including but not limited to technical information about your device, system and application software, and peripherals that is gathered periodically to facilitate the provision of software updates, product support, and other services to you, if any, related to the license application. Licensor may use this information as long as it is in a form that does not personally identify you, to improve its products or to provide services or technologies to you. C. Termination. The standard EULA is effective until terminated by your licensor. Your rights under this standard EULA will terminate automatically if you fail to comply with any of its terms. D. External services. The license application may enable access to licensor and or third-party services and websites, collectively, individually. External services. You agree to use the external services at your sole risk. Licensor is not responsible for examining or evaluating the content or accuracy of any third-party external services, and shall not be liable for any such third-party external services. Data displayed by any license application or external service, including but not limited to financial, medical, and location information, is for general information purposes only, and is not guaranteed by licensor or its agents. You will not use the external services in any manner that is inconsistent with the terms of the standard EULA, or that infringes upon the intellectual property rights of the licensor or any third party. You agree not to use the external services to harass, abuse, stalk, threaten, or defame any person or entity, and that licensor is not responsible for any such use. External services may not be available in all languages or in your home country, and may not be appropriate or available for use in any particular location. To the extent that you choose to use such external services, you are solely responsible for compliance with any applicable laws. Licensor reserves the right to change, suspend, remove, disable, or impose access restrictions or limits on any external services at any time without notice or liability to you. E. No warranty. all caps, you expressly acknowledge and agree that use of the license for application is at your sole risk. To the maximum extent permitted by the applicable law, the license application, any services performed or provided by the license application are provided as is and as available, with all faults and without warranty of any kind, and a licensor hereby disclaims all warranties and conditions with respect to the license application and any services, either expressed, implied, or statutory, including but not limited to the implied warranties and or conditions of merchantability, of satisfactory quality, of fitness for a particular purpose, of accuracy, of quiet enjoyment, and of non-infringement of third-party rights. No oral or written information or advice given by licensor or its authorized representative shall create a warranty. Should the license application or services prove defective, you assume the entire cost of all necessary servicing, repair, or correction. Some jurisdictions do not allow the exclusion of implied warranties or limitations on applicable statutory rights of a consumer, so the above exclusion and limitations may not apply to you. Okay. F. Limitational liability. To the extent not prohibited by law, in no event shall licensor be liable for personal injury or any incidental, special, indirect, or consequential damages whatsoever, including, without limitation, damages for loss of profits, corruption of lost data, failure to transmit or receive any data, including, without limitation, course instructions, assignments, and materials, business interruption, or any commercial damages or losses arising out of related to your use of or inability to use the license application, however caused, regardless of the theory of possibility of such damages. Theory of liability, contract, tort, or otherwise, and even if licensor has been advised of the possibility of such damages, some jurisdictions do not allow the exclusion of limitation of liability for personal injury or of incidental or consequential damages, so this limitation may not apply to you. In no event shall licensor's total liability to you for all damages other than as may be required by applicable law in cases involving personal injury exceed the amount of $250. The foregoing limitations will apply even if the above stated remedy fails of its essential purpose. G. You may not use or otherwise export or re-export the license application except as authorized by United States law and the laws of jurisdiction in which the license application was obtained. In particular, but without limitation, the license application may not be exported or re-exported, A, into any U.S. embargoed countries, or B, to anyone on the U.S. Treasury Department, specially designated nationals list, or the U.S. Department of Commerce denied persons list or entity list. By using the license application, you represent and warrant that you are not located in any such country or any such list. You also agree that you will not use these products or purposes prohibited by the United States law, including without limitation, the development, design, and manufacture or production of nuclear, missile, or chemical or biological weapons. H. U.S. government and users. The license application and related documents are commercial items, as that term is defined as 48 CFR, some weird sign, 2101, consisting of commercial computer software and commercial computer software documentation. As such, terms are used in 48 CFR, weird sign 12.212, or 48 CFR, weird sign 227.7202, as applicable. Consistent with 48 CFR, weird sign 12.212, or 48 CFR, weird sign 227.7202-1 through 227.7202-4. As applicable, the commercial computer software and commercial computer software documentation are being licensed to U.S. government end users, A, only as commercial items, and B, with only those rights as are granted to all other end users pursuant to the terms and conditions herein, unpublished rights reserved under the copyright laws of the United States. I. except to the extent expressly provided in the following paragraph. This agreement and relationship between you and Apple shall be governed by the laws of the state of California, excluding its conflict of law provisions. You and Apple agree to submit to the personal and exclusive jurisdiction of the court located within the county of Santa Clara, California, to resolve any disputes or claim arising from this agreement. If you are not a U.S. citizen, A, or B, you do not reside in the U.S., C, you are not accessing that service from the U.S., and D, you are not a citizen, you are a citizen of one of the countries identified below, you hereby agree that any dispute or claim arising from this agreement shall be governed by the applicable law set forth below, without regard to any conflict of law provisions, and you hereby irrevocably submit to the non-exclusive jurisdiction of the court located in the state, province, or country identified below, whose law governs. If you are a citizen of any European Union country or the United Kingdom, Switzerland, Norway, or Iceland, the governing law and form shall be the laws and courts of your usual place of residence. Specifically excluded from application of this agreement is the law known as the United Nations Convention of the International Sale of Goods. H. Additional terms for certain content acquired from third parties. Some content available in Apple Books, App Store, Apple Podcasts, including Apple Podcast subscriptions, are acquired by you from the third-party provider of such content, as displayed on the product page and or during the acquisition product process for the relevant content, not Apple. For example, Apple Books content is acquired from book publishers, not Apple. In such case, Apple acts as an agent for the content provider in providing the content to you, and thereby Apple is not a party to the transaction between you and the content provider. However, if you are a customer of Apple Distribution International Limited, Apple Distribution International Limited is the merchant of record for the content you acquire, but such content is licensed by the content provider. The content provider reserves the right to enforce the terms of use related to such content. The content provider is solely responsible for such content. Any warranties to the extent that such warranties have not been disclaimed, and any claims that you or any other party may have relating to such content. HI. Additional Apple Music terms. Icloud Music Library is an Apple Music feature that allows you to access your matched or uploaded songs, playlists, and music videos acquired from Apple Music, the iTunes or another source, iCloud Music Library content on your Apple Music enabled devices. iCloud Music Library is turned on automatically when you set up Apple Music membership. iCloud Music Library collects information about your iCloud Music Library content. This information is associated with your Apple ID and compares to iCloud Music Library content currently available on Apple Music. iCloud Music Library content that is not matched is uploaded to the Apple iCloud Music Library servers in a format determined by Apple. You can upload up to 100,000 songs. Songs acquired from the iTunes Store do not count against this limit. Songs that do not meet certain criteria, for example, excessively large files, or that are not authorized for your device and not eligible for iCloud Music Library. When you use iCloud Music Library, Apple logs information such as the tracks you play, the stop or the skip, the devices you use, and the time and the duration of the playback. You agree to use iCloud Music Library only for lawfully acquired content. iCloud Music Library is provided on an ASIS basis and could contain errors or inaccuracies. You should back up your data using information prior to using iCloud Music Library. If you are not an Apple Music member, you may purchase an iTunes Match subscription, which uses iCloud Music Library. When your Apple Music membership ends, you will lose access to iCloud Music Library, including iCloud Music Library content that is uploaded to iCloud Music Library servers. J. Additional Apple Fitness Plus terms. Apple Fitness Plus is for entertainment and informational purposes only and is not intended to provide any medical advice. You should always seek the advice of an appropriately qualified healthcare professional regarding A, the safety and advisability of any given activity, or B, the specific medical condition or symptoms. K, carrier membership. Where available, you may be offered to purchase a service membership from your wireless carrier. A carrier membership If you purchase a carrier membership, your carrier is the merchant of record, which means that you acquire the service license from your carrier, which will bill you for the cost of your service membership. But the service is licensed and provided by Apple. Your purchase relationship with the carrier is governed by the carrier's terms and conditions. Not this agreement, and any billing disputes related to a carrier membership must be directed to your carrier, not Apple. By using a service through a carrier membership, you agree that your carrier may exchange your carrier account information, telephone number, and subscription information with Apple, and that Apple may use this information to determine the status of your carrier membership. L. Miscellaneous terms applicable to all services. Definition of Apple. Depending on your home country, Apple means Apple Inc. located at 1 Apple Parkway, Cupertino, California, for users in the United States, including Puerto Rico. Apple Canada Inc. located at 120 Bremer Boulevard, Suite 1600, Toronto, Ontario, M5J 0A8, Canada for users in Canada. Apple Services LATAM LLC, located at 1 Alhambra Plaza, Suite 700, Coral Gables, Florida, for users in Mexico, Central or South America, or any Caribbean country or territory, excluding Puerto Rico. iTunes KK, located at Roppongi Hills, 6101, Roppongi Minato-ku, Tokyo, 1066140, Tokyo for users in Japan. Apple Party Limited, located at level 320 Martin Place, Sydney, NSW 2000, Australia, for users in Australia or New Zealand, including in any of the territories or affiliated jurisdictions in Apple Distribution International Limited, located at Holly Hill Industrial Estate, Holly Hill, Cork, Republic of Ireland, for all other users. Contract changes. Apple reserves the right at any time to modify this agreement and to add new or additional terms or conditions on your use of services. Such modifications and additional terms and conditions will be effectively, immediately, and incorporated into this agreement. Your continued use of the services will be deemed acceptance thereof. Third-party materials. Apple is not responsible for liable for third-party materials included within or linked from the content of the services. Intellectual property. You agree that the services included, but not limited to, content, graphics, user interface, audio clips, video clips, editorial content, and the scripts and software used to implement the services contain proprietary information and material that is owned by Apple and or its licensors and is protected by applicable intellectual property and other laws, including but not limited to copyright. You agree that you will not use proprietary information or materials in any way whatsoever, except for the use of services for personal, non-commercial uses in compliance with the agreement. No portion of the content or services may be transferred or reproduced in any form or by any means except as expressly permitted by this agreement. You agree not to modify, rent, loan, sell, share, or distribute services or content in any manner, and you shall not exploit the services in any manner not expressly authorized. The Apple name, the Apple logo, iTunes, iTunes Store, Apple Book Store, Apple Books, Apple Music, Apple TV, Apple TV Plus, Apple Arcade, Apple News Plus, Apple One, Apple Podcasts, Apple Fitness Plus, and other Apple trademarks, services, marks, graphics, and logos in connection with the services are trademark or registered trademarks of Apple in the U.S. and other countries throughout the world. You are granted no right or license without respect to any of the aforesaid trademarks. Copyright. Unless otherwise noted, services and content provided by Apple and are copyrights of Apple Inc. and its subsidiaries. If you believe that any content available through the services infringe a copyright claims by you, please contact Apple at the following locations. Third-party apps. http://www.apple.com/legal/internet-services/iTunes/App Store notices/ Apple Books. https://www.apple.com/legal/internet-services/iTunes/Apple Book notices/ Apple TV Plus and Apple Fitness Plus. http://www.apple.com/legal/internet-services/iTunes/Apple TV Plus notices/ Apple News. https://www.apple.com/legal/internet-services/iTunes/Apple News Notices. All other services included, but not limited to iTunes Store, Apple Music, and Apple Podcasts. https://www.apple.com/legal/internet-services/iTunes/iTunes Store notices/ Termination and suspension of services. If you fail or Apple suspects that you have failed to comply with any of the provisions of this agreement, Apple may, without notice to you, terminate this agreement and or your Apple ID, and you will remain liable for all amounts due under your Apple ID, up to and including the date of termination, and or terminate your license to the software, and or 3, preclude your access to the services. Apple further reserves the right to modify, suspend, or discontinue the services or any party or content thereof at any time with or without notice to you, and Apple will not be liable to you or any third party should it exercise such rights. Disclaimer of warranties. Liability limitation. Apple does not guarantee, represent, or warrant that your use of the services will be uninterrupted or error-free. And you agree that from time to time, Apple may remove the services for indefinite periods of time, cancel the services at any time, or otherwise limit or disable your access to the services without notice to you. You expressly agree that your use of inability to use or activity in connection with the services is at your sole risk. The services and all content delivered to you through the services are, except as expressly stated by Apple, provided as is and as available for your use, without warranties of any kind, either express or implied, including all implied warranties of merchantability, fitness for a particular purpose, title, and non-infringement, because some jurisdictions do not allow the exclusion of implied warranties. The above exclusion of implied warranties may not apply to you. You may agree that unless required by applicable law, Apple has no responsibility to continue making content available to you through our services, and Apple will not be liable to you if content, including purchased content, becomes available for downloading or streaming. In no case shall Apple, its directors, officers, employees, affiliates, agents, contractors, or licensors be liable for any direct or indirect, incidental, punitive, special, or consequential damages arising from use of any services or any other claim acquired in any way to your use of services and or content, including but not limited to any errors or omissions in any content, or any injury, loss, or damage of any kind incurred as a result of the use of any content posted, transmitted, or otherwise made available via the services, even if advised of their possibility, because some countries, states, or jurisdictions do not allow the exclusion of limitation of liability for consequential or incidental damages. In such countries, states, or jurisdictions, Apple's liability shall be limited to the extent such as limitation is permitted by law. Apple shall use reasonable efforts to protect information submitted by you in connection with the services, but you agree that your submission of such information is at your sole risk, and you hereby release Apple from any and all liability to you from any loss or liability relating to such information in any way. Apple does not represent or guarantee that the services will be free from loss, corruption, attack, viruses, interference, hacking, or other security intrusion, and you hereby release Apple from any liability relating thereto. You shall be responsible for backing up your own system, including any content acquired or rented through the services. Apple is not responsible for data changes you may incur in connection with your use of the services. Waiver in indemnity. By using the services, you agree to the extent permitted by law to indemnify and hold Apple, its directors, officers, employees, affiliates, agents, contractors, and licensors harmless with respect to any claims arising out of your breach of this agreement, your use of the services, or any action taken by Apple as part of its investigation of a suspected violation of this agreement, or as a result of its finding or decision that a violation of this agreement has occurred. You agree that you shall not sue or recover any damages from Apple, its directors, officers, employees, affiliates, agents, contractors, and licensors as a result of its decision to remove or refuse process any information or content to warn you, to suspend or terminate your access to the services, or to take any action during the investigation of a suspected violation or as a result of Apple's conclusion that a violation of this agreement has occurred. The waiver indemnity provision applies to all violations described in or contemplated by this agreement. Statutory exceptions for public institutions. If you are a qualified public, educational, or governmental institution, and any part of this agreement, such as by way of example, or all part of the indemnification section, is invalid or unenforceable against you because of applicable law, national, state, or federal law, then that portion shall be deemed invalid or unenforceable, as the case may be, and instead construed in a manner most consistent with applicable governing law. Governing law, except to the extent expressly provided in the following paragraph, this agreement and the relations between you and Apple and all transactions and services shall be governed by the laws of the state of California, excluding its conflicts of law provisions. You and Apple agree to submit to the personal and exclusive jurisdictions of the court located within the county of Santa Clara, California, to resolve any dispute or claim arising from this agreement. If A, you are not a U.S. citizen, B, you do not reside in the U.S., C, you are not accessing the service form from the U.S., or D, you are a citizen of one of the countries identified below, but you hereby agree that any dispute or claim arising from this agreement shall be governed by the applicable law set forth, without regard to any conflict of law provisions, and you hereby irrevocably submit to the non-exclusive jurisdictions of the court located in the state, province, or country identified below whose law governs. If you are a citizen of any European Union country or United Kingdom, Switzerland, Norway, or Iceland, the governing law and form shall be the laws and courts of your usual place of residence. Specifically excluded from application of this agreement is the law known as the United Nations Convention on the International Sale of Goods. Other provisions. This agreement constitutes the entire agreement between you and Apple and governs your use of the services, superseding any prior agreements with respect to the same subject matter between you and Apple. You may also be subject to additional terms and conditions that may apply when you use affiliate services, third-party content, third-party software, or additional services such as a volume purchase program. If any part of this agreement is held invalid or unenforceable, that portion shall be construed in a manner consistent with applicable laws to reflect, as nearly as possible, the original intentions of the parties, and the remaining portions shall remain in full force and effect. Apple's failure to enforce any right or provisions in this agreement will not constitute a waiver of such or any provisions. Apple will not be responsible for failures to fulfill any obligations due to causes beyond its control. You agree to comply with all local, state, federal, and national laws, statutes, ordinances, and regulations that apply to your use of the services. Your use of the services may also be subject to other laws. Risk of loss for all electronically delivered transaction pass to the acquirer upon electronic transmission to the recipient. No Apple employee or agent has the authority to vary this agreement. Apple may notify you with respect to the services by sending an email message to your email address, or a letter via postal mail to your mailing address, or by posting on the services. Notices shall become effective immediately. Apple may contact you by email or push notifications to send you additional information about the services. You hereby grant Apple the right to take steps Apple believes are reasonably necessary or appropriate to enforce and or verify compliance with any part of this agreement. You agree that Apple has the right, without liability to you, to disclose any data and or information to law enforcement authorities, government officials, and or third party, as Apple believes is reasonably necessary or appropriate to enforce and or verify compliance with any part of this agreement, including but not limited to Apple rights to cooperate with any legal processes relating to your use of services and or consent, and or a third-party claim that your use of the services and or content is unlawful and or infringes such third-party rights. Last updated September 20th, 2021, and that is the Apple terms and conditions. Well, I think I just saved you some time reading. You're welcome. See you next time.